Hey guys, War for the Planet of the Apes is out now, and I've seen it. We've seen it. We freaking saw it. So, War for the Planet of the Apes picks up a few years after Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and it tells the continued story of Caesar, who is kind of hiding out. He's on the run because this war is going on between his apes and the humans, and things get escalated when this colonel gets involved, played by Woody Harrelson. And I'm just going to start off by saying this movie is incredible.
It's amazing.
Batman, the Ben Affleck Batman movie, the solo movie, is in really good hands. Because the guy who directed this one, Matt Reeves, he's directing the Ben Affleck Batman standalone. So that movie's in really good hands. Because this movie was amazing. I'm going to start off by talking about the visual effects. The visual effects in this movie are a marvel to look at. Because Rise still has really good visual effects. Some of it is starting to not look as good after 6 years.
Yeah, Brandon brought up the fact that sometimes, like, in the future, we're just going to have
apes
acting, so...
Like, they'll do the motion capture work, and then they'll just, like, put people's voices to it.
Yeah, right.
And then, the effects in Dawn are still amazing. But War is better. War's effects are better. I will say this, though. I was thinking about it in the car ride home. I loved this movie. I think Rise, Dawn, and War are all incredible films. I still, in my mind, prefer Dawn overall. But if I was going to rank them in order, I'd say it'd be Dawn, War, and then Rise. Because this movie, oh my god. So you have this outstanding performance by Andy Serkis driving the whole movie. Because Andy Serkis, he's got such a greatness to him whenever he's on screen. Whether he's playing a human, like in Black Panther and Avengers Age of Ultron, or he's playing an animal or CGI thing like Lord of the Rings, King Kong, and Planet of the Apes. He gives such an incredible performance. And this movie tops it all. If he does not get nominated for Best Actor, I'm gonna be very upset, because he deserves it for the performance he gives in this movie. Not going to go into too much spoilers, but I definitely think this movie is the most emotionally resonant movie for Caesar as a character. And it's definitely his arc over the course of this trilogy, because who knows really if they're going to ever end up actually making more of these. They've said they're working on a fourth one, but who knows what will happen between now and then. So it's nice that a lot of characters who had arcs set up in Rise had their arcs closed in War. Not that it's not open for new arcs for those characters to open, it's just that their arcs for these 3 movies are closed. And then there's one character that I fell in love with. I don't know if you did, though. Bad Ape, played by Steve Zahn. He is introduced kind of in the middle of the movie, near the middle. And he's hilarious. He was an ape that was in a zoo, and he learned to talk from just watching humans, and after he got smart. But he's not as good at it as, like, Caesar, and he kind of... he kind of loses attention very quickly. He doesn't quite phrase things properly, stuff like that. And
it's pretty funny because the other ones, Caesar's the only one that really, like, talks. So he can only understand, like, Caesar. The other ones do the sign language.
Yeah, the other ones sign.
And he doesn't know at all what they say.
There was a really funny moment when the one ape, the one gorilla, and then Maurice, they were talking to each other in sign language, and then Bad Ape is just sitting there going, like, in the background, trying to, like, mimic them. That was, like, one of my favorite moments in the movie. All of the characters in this movie are really good, And there's a new character in this movie who was introduced, who, if you're a big Planet of the Apes fan, actually there are two. If you're a big Planet of the Apes fan, you immediately recognize who they were. First one, obviously Cornelius is Caesar's newborn son in the movie. And obviously everyone knows Cornelius. He was the main ape in Planet of the Apes. And then the other one is this human girl named Nova, who was also one of the main characters in the original.
They name her very cleverly.
Yeah,
I don't think we spoil how.
Yeah, no, but it's pretty clever.
It's a clever
and
way.
Actually, there's a really clever plot point in this movie that links this movie to the original Planet of the Apes and explains how things kind of fully end up how they are in those movies, involving the dynamic between apes and humans. Again, not going to spoil it here, but I thought that was a really interesting route to go, and it was very just well executed and well set up. And this movie is just very emotional. Mm-hmm. Like, you go through a big range of emotions in this movie. There are moments where you're sad, there are moments where you're happy, there are moments when you're laughing because of Bad Ape. There are moments when you're really depressed, angry, stuff like that. And there's a big moment in the movie where you just kind of feel really defeated. Mm-hmm. And
you're like, oh, what are they going to do now? How the heck are they going to fix this?
How are they going to get out of this?
Yeah. Right.
And there's one very big emotional moment near the end of the movie. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but there's one very big emotional moment for me, in the movie. And for me, personally, I got taken out of the movie because I was very locked into the movie. And then right in the middle of this really emotional scene, this chick in the row in front of me just takes out her phone and turns it on. And the brightness of the screen distracted me, and it took me out of the moment. So
you're like, oh, but
yeah, because I was locked in. This is happening, and I just see the light come out, and I'm like, what is... Seriously? It's the end of the movie. It's the saddest scene in the movie, and you're taking out your phone. You couldn't
even waited for the end credits.
Yeah, it was like 5 minutes before the ending.
The movie still played.
Yeah.
Can you wait a second?
No, but I feel like this movie is a very great conclusion to the trilogy, because... Again, Rise of the Planet of the Apes is a great movie. Actually, I felt like there were a lot of callbacks to Rise of the Planet of the Apes in this movie, especially involving... I don't know, this isn't really a spoiler. There's a certain point in the movie where you find out that something has happened to the apes, and the way, like, things end up coming out and they get out of the situation definitely reminded me quite a bit of Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Just, I'm not going to say exactly what scenario, but Mason, you probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think
so. No, but I thought...
You have to remind me after we're done.
I will. And there were quite a few callbacks to Rise and Dawn. There was, like, in the opening scene... There was, like, text that came up that said, like, something about rise, and it's obviously, like, oh, rise. And then it followed up with another one that says something about dawn, and then I was like, dawn. And
the last one, of course, War.
Yeah.
And then it changed
And then it changed the actual title, War for the Planet of the Apes. And I really, really hope they make a fourth one. I'm just saying, I really hope they make a fourth one, because this one leaves it definitely open for, like, a new trilogy to pick up. And I really hope it does, because you have, obviously, these characters, and certain characters that were set up in this movie, like Cornelius and Nova, to grow into the versions of their characters from the original movies over the course of maybe another 3, 4, 5 movies. I mean, really, they could do anything. And I definitely feel like this is one of the best movies, if not maybe tied with Baby Driver for the best movie of the year for me. I don't know, it's definitely up there, but I personally am going to give War for the Planet of the Apes, an A+. Mason?
I couldn't agree more. A+, in my opinion. They're tiny little things, but
Yeah. Well, every movie has tiny.
tiny.
But
it didn't distract me at all. It didn't take away from any of it.
All right, guys. Have you seen War for the Planet of the Apes? Let us know in the comments what you thought about it if you have, and check back here tomorrow for our funny bad review of Planet of the Apes from 2001. All right.